Well, Liverpool are European Champions League final winners, 2-0 against Tottenham last night. Not probably the greatest match you've ever seen, but when you look back on years gone by, you don't look back 10 years later and say, well, was it a good match or a bad match? You look back and see that Liverpool will be the European champions. As simple as that. I think the two things that will be remembered for this year are the semi-final win against Barcelona and the final win yesterday. Now, you've got to feel a little bit sorry for Spurs. We'll have a look at some of the papers in a minute and see what they're saying. But you have to feel a little bit sorry for Spurs because, they really did probably give more than they got last night, but it's those little margins that make the difference in a game. And we'll talk about the penalty and we'll talk about the chances that Liverpool created and Tottenham created. But Tottenham, I thought, could go away a little bit disappointed because they probably had the better of the possession, and we'll have a look at some stats in a minute, and also better of the chances. But at the end of the day, it's all about putting the ball in the net at the opposite end and stopping it going into yours. So let's have a look at some papers. Now, normally it's a royal wedding or a royal baby normally gets the front page, but Liverpool European champions have got front and back pages. So I've got three papers to have a look at. We'll start off with the Sun, Scorcheroo on the front page, and again on the back. Jurgen Klopp there flying high, so that's the Sun. Let's have a look at the Daily Mail. Even the Daily Mail have got them on the front page there, and I've actually got 13 pages of analysis and pictures in the Mail. So there we go, front page there of the Daily Mail. On the back page, a brilliant picture of Henderson there with the trophy. So front and back page of the Mail, and the Mirror for all your Mirror readers. Champs of Europe on the front page, and again great photo there on the back again of Henderson. So front and back of all the pages, beating any royal wedding or royal baby. Now there's some interesting stuff in amongst. Just have a look at the Mail. They did an interesting article. It's the Boffins what won it. And that's quite an interesting article. It talks about how the club's director of research, Ian Graham, was instrumental in bringing Klopp to Liverpool. And he's got a backroom team of what they call the laptop boys. And they analyse everything. And there's a couple of interesting things that came out of that. Apparently, this Ian Graham analysed Klopp's old Dortmund team when he was manager. And when he had a poor season in 2014-15, he analysed that, and actually he felt that Klopp had done a good job even though the team struggled, and that it was a particularly unlucky year. Now, they look at lots of things with players, and you'll see the stats in the papers, looking at pass success rate and pass rate, etc. But they analyse in depth, a little bit deeper, is not just what passes are made and how many are successful, but how many are statistically more likely to lead to a goal or lead to winning the match. And there's some boffins behind all these football teams now. There's a guy called in the team who Tim Waskett, and he studied astrophysics before life as a football analyst. There's another guy, David Steele, who's a maths graduate and former junior chess champion. So they're all on their laptops behind the scenes, helping Klopp come up with the tactics and player signings that they need to be looking at. Another guy in the team, Will Spearman, he's one of the more recent additions. He's got a PhD in high energy physics at Harvard. And they're all there contributing to the Liverpool machine to win this thing. So it's an excellent article if you want to get the Mail on Sunday. But one of the things that interests me about it is that Klopp has made some important signings. You could say that Tottenham are a little bit unlucky, but it's those fine margins. And Tottenham haven't made the signings in the last year or two that Liverpool have. And two important signings that I think Liverpool made were Alisson in goal. And you saw last night from the saves he made, and Van Dijk at the central defence, who was outstanding. But let's have a look at what else the Mail have got to say. They've got their player ratings in there. They've actually got man of the match down to Andy Robertson at left back, who had a superb match. I think you could have picked out quite a few players there. On the Tottenham side, they really didn't like the performance of Harry Winks. He was one of the lowest ones. I actually thought he was pretty good on the ball. Harry Kane, the mid-ranged him on scoring. So that's the Sunday Mail. We'll have a look at the Sun. A couple of interesting bits in there. Big spread here. I think they've got 16 pages in the Sun. And they talk about controversial penalty makes up for final heartbreak 12 months ago. Now, I don't think it was a controversial penalty. I think it was spot on. The Tottenham defender's got just inside the penalty area, he's got his arm up in the air, whether he's pointing to one of his other players or not, I don't know. The ball goes towards his arm. I think it's fair to say it hit his chest/arm. But he actually moved his arm down to stop it coming through. So I think it definitely was a penalty, and rightly so. I felt sorry for the Tottenham player, but controversial, no, I don't think it was. The other thing, they've got some possession and stats on the match. 65% possession to Spurs, 35% to Liverpool. Now, I didn't think it was that high, but Liverpool didn't keep hold of the ball well throughout the final, I think it's fair to say. Shots on target, Tottenham 8, Liverpool 3. So it just shows how clinical the Liverpool forwards were, in front of goal compared to Spurs. I think Alisson made a couple of superb saves, and like I say, it's Klopp's ability to just bring in those players in the positions where previously mistakes were made. And I think where Spurs haven't done that, they haven't just changed their weak links. That's the difference between the two sides on the night. So I'll have a look at another little bit in the Sun. It's middle pages, centre middle page spread there, and it's looking at the history of the European Cup. And apart of the British clubs, Liverpool convincingly now six titles, 3 runners-up. Man United the next nearest, 3 titles and 2 runners-up. And when you look at it by nation, Britain are second to Spain. Spain have won 18 times, Britain 14 times. So we're right up there in the charts nationally, and obviously Liverpool are heading it on the domestic club front. So we'll have a look at the Mirror, see what they've got to say. First thing that struck me in the Mirror, and like I say, I don't know how many pages they've got, but many pages right throughout the paper. But there we go, Klopp riding high, and he talks about Liverpool being the love of his life, and I think it's fair to say that they're a perfect fit for each other. But he's a manager that really, any Premiership club would be proud to have as his manager. We talk about him signing key players and looking at players that make mistakes and replacing those, like the goalkeeper, like the centre halves. But he's developed players. He's one of these managers that can manage, and he can develop players. And you look at his 2 fullbacks, wingbacks, Trent Alexander at the back there, and Robertson, absolutely superb. And he's brought those players on. And right throughout the team, I wasn't a great lover of Henderson in years gone by, but I think he's improved dramatically under Klopp. So they talk in the Mirror about Liverpool being the love of his life, and I can't see Klopp moving for some time from Liverpool. And then just I'll have a look at their man of the match. For Liverpool, they put down again Robertson, man of the match. They scored him an 8, but saying that, they scored Alisson, Alexander-Arnold 8. I think the lowest in the team actually is Henderson and Fabinho at 6. Oh no, sorry, Wijnaldum at 5 and Firmino at 5. But I they got the job done. You can't knock them. In terms of Tottenham, again, they gave Sissoko and Kane their lowest marks of 5, and I think Kane was was poor, certainly in the first half. He just didn't look up for it. He did improve in the second half, and I thought he was prepared to get hold of the ball and try driving at the Liverpool defence, and they did create some chances. My man of the match on the Liverpool team would have been Van Dijk. I would have given him the man of the match, and I would have given on the Tottenham team, I would have given it to Son, because I thought he was lively throughout the game. He had, quite a few chances. He was unfortunate that he was up against a very good goalkeeper in Alisson, and any other day he might have had a couple of goals under his belt. I got the winning team prediction right on this match. I'm not very good on the predictions. I actually predicted a 2-1 Liverpool win. It was a 2-0 in the end. But I think if you take the season as a whole, I think as an independent, I think Liverpool deserve that trophy, and I think Klopp will only go on to build, a better and stronger team over the next few years. And don't be too surprised if they don't go on and win the Premier League next year. But no, a great match, although not a firecracker. But enjoyed the match, and I think a deserved win overall. And hard lines to Tottenham, but they'll have another day. And I think if they spend right in a couple of key areas this summer, they'll be up there challenging again in the top four of the Premier League and again in the Champions League. And they've got that experience under their belt now, which Liverpool obviously had from last year. If you like the videos, like the channel, keep you up to date with all the latest news, reaction, paper reviews, etc. Please subscribe to the channel below, and thanks for watching.